Hey, what's going on, everybody? You've got Jacob coming at you with a special guest today. We've got Flip here with us, who is one of our students from inside a couple of programs that I run, but primarily the Super Affiliate Accelerator. This is broadcasting into my group, into the SAA group, and into a group that we run for another product that I've got called the Fast Cash Rolodex, which Flip is also a member of. So as you guys are all hopping on, regardless of where you're watching this, get active. Don't just lurk. Drop a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know where you've what you got going on, all that kind of jazz. Flip, you want to say hey to the folks, and we can kick off in a few minutes.
What's up, guys? How the hell is everybody? It's 8 o'clock my time. I'm really curious to see how many different people we got in here, where you all are from. So, like, drop us some comments, man. Let's see where you're at.
What part of the states are you in? You're on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, East Coast.
Yeah.
Virginia,
that's right.
Yep. I'm in a very small town that everybody knows me. You know, I didn't always have a name, right? Got in some trouble as a teenager and young adult, so some people know me from that. But I've deleted damn near all my friends and family off of my Facebook, because that's what I had to do to get all the negative people, the naysayers, all the doubters out, so I could really focus on the business. Yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. Robin, Benjamin, Jessica, Kevin, Diane. I'm just reading out the names of the people that I can see. There should be a link in the comments if you guys want to click on it so that we can see your names. That would be appreciated. Otherwise, we're not going to know who it is. James, what's going on? So as folks pile in, we'll kick things off. The reason, so this is actually a rescheduled call. We were going to do this a little while ago, and then I had something pop up at the last minute, which meant that maybe we couldn't do it. But I appreciate Flip taking the time to get back on. So what I wanted to do is bring him in, because what I've seen with Flip is a pretty it's a great example of what can happen in this internet marketing space, and I'll let him tell his story better than I will, but I'll pre-frame it a little bit. It's the typical story of, you know, there's an extended period of trial and error. There's an extended period of things being shit. There's an extended period of people spending money on stuff. And it feels like everything's kind of not really trending in the right way. If you look purely at, okay, well, money's not coming in, money's only going out. If you purely look at it on that metric, but the qualitative side of that is that, you know, you're picking up a ton of experience, and with every, you know, not failure, but with every kind of thing that you try that doesn't necessarily click, you are moving closer and closer to things really exploding, because you're picking up all those experiences along the way, and there's going to come a time, if you stick with it long enough, that there'll be a bit of a perfect storm of all those previous experiences and all those previous skill sets colliding with the right opportunity at the right time, and those ingredients can create something pretty powerful, and that's really what Flip saw happen in April, when he really blew things up and had his first 20K month, which is amazing. And the more people that I can, I guess, get in front of you, or regardless of where you're watching this, who have just been through that, because obviously for myself that happened quite a while ago now, and then you start to tackle different challenges in terms of making that the new norm, and then growing it. But as many people as I can bring to you with a good story of persistence and work ethic and continuously investing in themselves and all those kind of things, who stuck with it until they had that, and then that gives them the platform to keep going. The more and more of those people that I can bring in front of you, fresh off that experience, there might be one line that Flip says in this call that gives you the light bulb to make it happen. So that's why I wanted to bring Flip on, and we're going to talk through. I kind of think about this all in three phases. There's what was happening before. How did you kind of what was the backstory leading up to things blowing up? Talk about a little bit about that, kind of how that all happened, and then I guess where are things going from here. So we can chat through those three things. But Flip, if you want to kick it off and give folks, your kind of backstory, I guess pre-internet marketing, or kind of when you got into the internet marketing game, like the early days, and then we can launch off that.
All right, I'll go back a good little ways, and I want to paint a really powerful picture for anyone who's seasoned or an absolute beginner that's on the fence. All right, so I wanted to learn the online business model starting in 2017, and that wasn't with affiliate marketing. The first online course that I bought happened to be around dropshipping. That was the first business model that I learned. I quickly learned that it was a lot of headaches with that. It's a lot of overhead. You got to deal with a lot of bullshit, especially when it comes to refunds. But not only that, when you drop money on a course for dropshipping, you've also got to handle the price of all your products and keep your inventory right. That was a big headache. All right. Profitable business model, but it's a lot more shit than a beginner needs to worry about. All right. So I messed with that for a while. Then around the middle of 2018, that was the first time that I saw affiliate marketing. But me being a straight greenhorn, I got sold on a done-for-you system. What I mean by that is they were like, just get this product, and all you got to do is pay for ads. I spent $2,000 on ads. Now, keep in mind, I'm working at a aluminum extrusion plant, and doing this on my off days. And I was working 12-hour shifts. I wasn't home a lot anyway, but I was hungry then, just as hungry as I am now. But that done-for-you system, I blew a lot of money on ads, and I made like $23 was my first affiliate marketing sale. But I wasn't in the black, I was in the red, and it showed me two things. Paid ads is not the way to go, but you can make sales on the internet. So I was like, I'm gonna keep trying some different stuff. And if you see a question, Jacob, let me know. I'm glad to slow down. So I'm trying to just roll through it a little bit. So I've done that for a while. I went back to the dropshipping model in 2019, except I used Amazon. So I still done dropshipping. I connected with a really good guy, was more helpful than the course that I bought. I've done that pretty much all of 2019 and a lot of 2020. But I still wasn't getting the results that I wanted. It was extra money, but it wasn't absolute crazy stuff. And I was still working absolute jack ton at this plant. And keep in mind, I was making six figures at this job. Now, 2020 rolled around. January, I jumped into Legendary Marketer. I went through, I bought all of the upsells. I bought the business blueprints. I bought everything. But stuff still wasn't clicking, to be completely honest. I never really heavily promoted Legendary as a product, but I used it as a stepping stone to see, the basic fundamentals, sales, marketing, funnels, but I never really kept going with the funnel side of things. When I was starting to see a little bit of results, promoting other products using what I learned in Legendary, that's when COVID was hitting. This was like March. And here's a very big, let's see, what would you say, shitty thing that happened. My six-figure job, I was furloughed first. All right. We had a lot of COVID outbreaks inside the plant, like 250 people. I was a lead supervisor. I was making like 120 grand a year, really good money, not going to knock that. But I was furloughed. I worked at this company for 10 years. They asked me to come back while they were still having COVID outbreaks. and I wasn't comfortable because I got 2 small children, and they terminated my employment immediately. Not allowed to come back. You're just fired, Flip. Thanks for your service, but you're out. So that like literally blew my mind. It's like I didn't quit. I just said, can I have another week while y'all get stuff cleaned up? But they fired me after being a lead guy, helping them make millions of dollars. And I had a pretty crazy decision to make. It was either go and find another job to work for someone else, or go all in on myself and try and blow the online thing out the water. So I decided, as you can see now, I kept going, and I didn't make it to the high ticket affiliate marketing until August. So I want to tell you guys one more crazy thing that I did in the middle of the summer. I learned how to close sales without having anything to close for. I told Jacob this earlier. I went into another program that teaches how to close high ticket sales, buying triggers, emotions to touch on, stuff like that. But I didn't have anything to close for. Learned some really cool stuff. Then I was upsold into a $10,000 program. Now, I lost my job. I pulled money out of my 401k. Like, stuff was nuts. We have a $180,000 house. I have a nice vehicle. The wife has a nice vehicle. We got 2 kids that will eat you out of a house and home. So I had a lot of shit to think about as far as investing money. Like, shit had to work, right? But the $10,000 program had a time limit. This kind of blew Jacob's mind a little bit. It's 10 grand for 60 days of coaching, right? It was around client acquisition, organic marketing, stuff of that nature. It was high level, but believe it or not, I was still missing some shit. Nothing was clicking. Like I did land my first high ticket client. I went in there without an offer. I created an offer while I was in there, and I sold it, within 25 days of being in there, 2 grand. So that was exciting, but I didn't get the support that I needed around everything else, fulfillment. Like I was just kind of like left to figure it out. And that didn't sit well with me because, that's a lot of money to drop for 60 days, right? Versus SAA, you get lifetime support. That is crucial in anything. The support, coaching, community, environment, people that root for you and actually help you when you need it. That shit's very important. So if you're picking something, all that needs to be factored in. So I know I'm kind of touching on some stuff really quick, but I still had to figure something out because I wasn't bringing in any income. I didn't have a day job. The wife, she was furloughed the same time I was. She lost her job. So here we are, 2 parents trying to make things work, trying to figure it out. And I had to sell some of my personal items that I did not want to sell to make some payments on bills, make the house payment, the truck payment. You had to make shit happen, get dirty, survive. I got lucky, and the guy that brought me into SAA, I don't know what he's doing now. Haven't heard from him pretty much since I jumped in August. Grant Paulson. I don't know if anybody's talked to him. But,
yeah, he went into more client side copywriting.
Gotcha. He brought me in, and I've loved SAA from the jump. I was able to jump into SAA in August. I was able to promote other different products that I still had access to and use SAA to fuel that. I was able to make some sales here and there before Christmas. The most money I had made with affiliate marketing, and that was pretty awesome. But like Jacob said, it wasn't until this year that things kind of blew up. January was still kind of quiet, but here's what happened in February that kind of kick-started everything. So fast forward a few months, I'm grinding, putting the work in, showing up every day. Frustration was involved, but I still tried to keep my head straight. February, I jumped into a live that Jamie was doing in his personal group. And he challenged all of us. He said, from here on out, it was like the middle of February. He was like, from the rest of the month, I want you guys to make offers every day. He said, I don't care if it's, you know, a monetary offer, whether it's to subscribe to your YouTube, join your group, or, you know, simply giving away a lead magnet. But he challenged us to make an offer every day. And I took that shit serious. I had one Facebook post that I put up and it brought in like $600. One Facebook post that blew my mind. I was able to, you know, cross sell them some other things, turned into like $1,000 Facebook post altogether with multiple different products. That is what kickstarted me to make more consistent sales. So I continued to do what, you know, Jamie recommended. You know, I got some shout outs from Jacob. If anybody's made sales, you know, it ain't no better feeling than getting shouted out by, you know, somebody like JC. You know, I love that shit. Even when you get an email, like it's something like a euphoric feeling when you get that email and you just made a high ticket sale. Like it blows my mind. Come here. So February, made a lot of offers, had my first big Facebook post. Leading up into April, you know, I just kind of had my momentum to start building, and more people were viewing me, seeing the results I was getting. I was more confident because I'd seen results. So the results I was getting, I was able to use those to my advantage. People want to see what is possible. They want to see if results can be had by a blue collar guy like myself. You know, before SAA and the other shit that I went through, I literally had no sales and marketing experience. Like legit blue collar guy. I like to kill shit for fun during hunting season. You know, I've always worked hard, and if I can do this, I'm here to tell you that anybody can do it.
Yeah. I think the cool part out of that is, when did you join SA? August, did you say?
It was like almost the end of August.
Yeah. So some people might be listening to that going, okay, August, April, that's 8 months. That's too long. And the really interesting thing about when you look at time frames is, if you think back to August last year, it's gone in the blink of an eye. Like, we're nearly at the end of May, which is obscene. You know, we're 5 months into the year. But when you look forward, it seems really far away, right? Like 8 months from now, we're going to be in 2022. The other thing is, so you've had a 20K month. That's not to say every month's going to be 20K, but I would be pretty confident in saying you will, for the most part, stay above a 6-figure run rate now. Because it's clicked, you get it. Yep. And if you think about, you know, the typical time frame in order to produce that kind of income between, you know, going to high school, going to college / university, or whatever other path you take, getting into a job, working your way up the ladder, you know, that's years and years and years and years and years, right? So I think what happens in the online space is people throw around these big numbers and really short time frames, and I'm guilty of it as well. We all do it. It's because it's what you need to do in order to get people's attention. But, you know, 8 months of work in order to understand how the game works, and then, you know, really get the foundations in place for you know, multi 6-figure run rate. It's actually a really, really small and short time frame. 6 to 12 months is typically where the people that are going to take off. Some people do it sooner, but I 6 to 12 months is typically where you start to see things really, really explode, if people have stuck with it consistently. Yeah. So that's an interesting piece, and it's, people have got to be prepared to, you know, to put that time in and not drop out after a couple of months if it's not going perfectly. Yep. What during that phase, what advice have you got for folks that are in that phase now,
where they haven't like hit their breakthrough yet?
Yeah.
For me, I've had this question was asked, I don't know, probably half a dozen times just this week. And that question was, have you ever had imposter syndrome and how do you get past it? That was something I would say that I dealt with a lot. And if I had to be really honest, I still deal with the shit, on like right now, because here's my advice. When you're trying to become, the person that you want to be, your subconscious is going to fight you on everything that you need to do. And you're going to be easily pulled back to what you know. You're going to constantly fight yourself. Even though you know what you need to do and you know how you need to do it, your body and brain is going to fight your ass because you're going to be very uncomfortable. All right. So like when I tell my, personal clients or anyone who comes into, SAA through me, here's what I tell them. My job is to make you uncomfortable. Your job is to get comfortable being uncomfortable until you're comfortable. It's a mouthful, but hopefully everybody caught that. So I try to write things down. If I could show you my board, I got a big ass whiteboard here. Anytime I come up with a good idea, I'll write it down and I'll make it a point to, put that into action. If I have an idea for an offer or idea for a really good post, whatever it might be, I write it down. I got multiple notebooks. I got one in my nightstand. I got one on the counter in the kitchen. I got 2 or 3 up here. I try to write shit down so I see it. The more you see something, the more it's going to be on your brain a lot more. So you'll know you need to take action on it. But imposter syndrome is real. Each time you level up, it's going to happen again because it's going to require a different version of yourself. I never saw a $20,000 a month coming. I wrote that down on my board. It's I ended the month with $22,790 for April. I wrote it down so I could see it every day to keep my brain in check, saying that shit is possible if you put the work in, if you're consistent, and if you don't listen to all the negative people that are saying, this isn't possible, this isn't right, it's a scam. Those people that say it's a scam, I love talking to those people because I make it my job to help them with a mindset shift. That's really all this is. Anybody can do this if they take it serious. Like Jacob said, 6 to 12 months. That time goes by a lot quicker than you think it does, especially when your ass is getting older. All right. That 6 months ain't shit. We'll be at the end of this year. It'll be Christmas before you know it. And those people, Jacob put up a really good post the other day. I kind of, mirrored it in one of my lives that I did. But Jacob put up a post. I don't know if y'all saw it, but he said there are 2 types of people. One person is the person that takes action when they see a good opportunity. They don't allow themselves to be indecisive. They just jump, kind of like I did with, Fast Cash Rolodex, what I did with SAA. I didn't give myself a lot of time to think. I just jumped in. Person number 2, those are the skeptical people. They want to watch person number 1 to see what kind of results they get. And usually 1, 2, 3 months down the road, they realize that person number 1 is like starting to crush it and get results. And then they kick themselves in the ass because it could have been them, but they decided to wait and be skeptical.
That's huge. And and as I said in that post, and this is where, you think you got to think about upside versus downside. So the upside of a new opportunity, well executed is, however far you want to take it, within the realms of, possibility. The downside of that going wrong is a bit of time and whatever the outlay was, but it's capped, right? It's capped at how long you drag it on for, and it's capped at how much you spent. And if you said to someone, here's a financial opportunity and the upside is X%, which is huge, right? Like potentially thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of percent upside. Your downside's capped at X dollars in a couple of months. When you present it like that, most people are going to jump at it. And then the other side of it is looking at the true cost. It's like, well, no, you haven't saved yourself $3,000. You've cost yourself 3 months in waiting and whatever you could have generated in that time. So it's just how you look at things.
Yep.
And some of the biggest things I've done have been just through moving quickly and seeing an opportunity and seeing what sticks. Every time I try and overthink stuff is when stuff gets messy.
I agree.
It's really, really, really good advice. On the imposter syndrome stuff, like I think the other point that's worth kind of putting on top of what you've just said is don't hold yourself out to be something that you're not. It's not necessary. Like, and we say this every week in SAA. It's like, if you're holding yourself out to be able to do something for people that you can't, or promising a result you've not achieved, you're setting yourself up for failure, because it's incongruent. It's going to be incongruent internally with what you're trying to project, right? And I've seen it over and over and over and over and over again. And you don't need to do it, right? It's not what it's about. It's not about holding, trying to be the holy grail for people, right? It's about being the person that's willing to step out and offer to help others and be a bit of a leader in your own right. And that's more important than being able to put a certain number in your bio or whatever, right? That stuff will come. That stuff will come. But you're just simply creating incongruency, which is going to stop you from implementing anyway.
I couldn't agree more. I wanted to add, I actually had a message the other day. It was an inbound message, and I wasn't friends with this person. My profile's set to public. And this guy reached out. He was like, man, I just read your post, or one of my posts, where I was, mentioning that I had hit a $20,000 a month. He was like, well, why don't you have, where's all your flashy shit at? I was like, I'm not that guy. I don't go out and buy shit that I don't need. The first thing that I did, when I made that money, is I paid off $9,000 in debt, credit card debt. That's what I'm looking to do. I'm even though I've made really good money the last couple months, like I had COVID, me and the wife were down for 2 weeks the beginning of this month. And I told Jacob, I said, I've still done over $5,000. That's a good month for anybody, right? Anybody, I don't care who you talk to, $5,000 is a good month. But I'm trying to get financially free. I'm ready to downgrade even more of my stuff so that I can really, really enjoy the lifestyle, making the money. Maybe take the family on more vacations. I don't need to have a bunch of flashy shit. I don't need fancy nothing. I'm a very simple man. I'm very humble. I know what it's like to be at the top. I know what it's like to be at the bottom. I know how it's like to have shit ripped from under you when you don't expect it. I don't care about the flashy stuff. I try to be as humble as possible. And when you understand struggle and been through it, you probably won't want all the flashy shit either. Just had to put that out there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I was talking about this with my girlfriend the other day. Like, the more you make, I had this realization probably in 2019. I was in a bit of a bad headspace and was making really good money. Like, had $100,000 day, and started looking at like, I could buy this, I could buy that. Very quickly realized that wasn't going to fix the deeper issues that were going on. And I'm so fucking glad that I had that realization at that point, because it can get real messy real fast. And when you don't need to go out and buy that stuff, like on the amount that the business is making now, I could go and lease a fucking Ferrari if I wanted to, but I'm not going to go do it. Like it would be stupid. You know, I'd rather put that money into other things. It's a choice. Like eventually maybe you splash out on a few things here and there, but you're better off keeping yourself, and this is what we're talking about on the Rolodex call this morning, like having that war chest of cash, because you haven't spent it on stupid shit, is so empowering, because then you are in the driver's seat in terms of what opportunities you want to jump at, what clients you want to say no to, which is so important. What you do want to sell, what you don't want to sell, what projects you want to take on, what projects you don't want to take on, what you want to test, right? Cash gives you the ability to test, and minimizing the money you spend on all that other shit leaves more in the bank to keep you in the driver's seat of growing, and allowing you to just keep reinvesting and compounding month on month and year on year. Couple of questions. Let me just scroll back up.
Oh yeah, I love questions.
Diane says, can you tell me, did you make a new offer every day, or did you ask for the sale? So just talk about the daily offer thing a little bit again.
Okay. I did not make a monetary offer every day. Actually, I probably did in Messenger, but when it came to like my content, I didn't always make, I didn't always have that set up to be an offer. It might have been just a solid 2-step post or straight drop in value. My offer might have been just me inviting you to my group, or, to go check out something I put up on YouTube. I've kind of been back and forth on YouTube a little bit. It wasn't always a monetary offer. If I had someone in Messenger, I would usually ask for the sale. Here's the thing, when it comes to asking for the sale, here's where I see, myself included, a lot of newer folks get hung up. They get in their feelings when somebody says, no, it's not a good time, or nope, not good for me, not interested. And that messes them up. But you just got to be able to slash that and understand that there's somebody else out there that could absolutely use your offer. I used to feel so salesy when it came to making a offer or a pitch, however you want to word it. But when I became more confident that I knew that I could help someone do something because of what I was learning, what I was able to do, it really comes down to helping someone make the best decision for themselves. It's not always about the money. It's like, it's not really your product either. It's what result or transformation are they going to get? Can you provide that? Does what you have, is it a good fit for that person? If it's not, go ahead and end it. Don't waste any time. Keep it moving. But hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know what you're talking about with Jamie's live. It was something that him and I discussed. It was really like, there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of stuff, but then when push comes to shove in terms of making actual, calls to action to move someone closer, it's where people can drop the ball. So, that's not to say that when you're in full swing, you have to make an offer every day, but again, back to the point Flip made about people getting uncomfortable. We wanted to challenge people to make multiple offers a day in their inbox, in their content, wherever that may be, because that's going to just kickstart that bootstrapping process early on, faster. And the folks that embrace that, like Flip, did really well with it. So yeah, it's just about making sure that every day you're giving people the opportunity to move closer to a purchase, and that may be by asking the question, as in, are you ready to go, or by putting something out that will naturally move them closer in terms of a lead magnet. The other point on the no's is don't just figure out a way to get past it. Figure out a way to actually really like those people, because they're saving you so much time. They're so much better than the people who ghost you, give you a maybe, give you a most people are going to be inclined when they start to prefer maybes because they think that it might happen. Maybe is usually a no. A no is better because you can put a line through it and move on, right? So start to actually appreciate people saying no, because it's it's a definitive answer. You're not wasting your time, and you can move on to somebody else.
100%.
And then you're closer to a yes. So Nate said, are you converting TikTok leads into SAA? I think the answer to that is yes.
I have, yes.
Yeah. And that's a cool like example of where you can combine, because we talk a lot about the 4 pillars of your business being what's going on in your head, what you're selling, how you're selling it, and kind of who you're selling it to / what platform you're using. And that's a good example of those last 2 pillars being interchangeable, right? Like you can use a different lead generation platform, but then deploy the one-to-one sales strategies to sell the offer. Because they're transferable and they're fundamental. What else we got?
I'll give you guys a straight gold nugget real quick. This is one of the things that I'm going to, and not to like soft promote or nothing, JC. Before I got COVID, I was in the process of building out a $67 training. But one of the things I was going to cover, I'm not going to go into high detail, but here's a gold nugget. I put up a 60-second TikTok video just describing one of my products. Now, I was talking about just features and benefits and what you were able to do with it. I never talked about price. I never mentioned price. I did not try to pitch. I just simply put up a 60-second video talking about what the product did and what you could do with it. And I ended up making 4 high-ticket sales without talking to anyone. I had my affiliate link in the video. That was it. I had 4 high-ticket sales without talking or messaging anybody. That's like straight gold right there. That's what can happen if you know your product, if you can lay it out for people, whatever you're selling, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. If you can portray it to what it's going to do for them, people are going to be intrigued by that and they're going to want to check it out. So there's a gold nugget, something I'm going to cover.
That's a good point. Harley, if you had to say one in particular thing or training that helped make things click for you back in that phase, what would it be? I'm not sure if that's directed at me or you, but I guess he's talking about like the phase of going from kind of grinding to things clicking. Oh man, any one thing, that's a tricky one. There's a few moving parts to it all.
I've got a good answer for it actually.
Yeah, far away.
I picked this up, probably in the beginning when I got started with SAA. It was something that I think it was something that Aaron said, because I was always chasing Aaron and Blake. What it felt like those were the guys I was paying attention to. Got to give them a shout out because they're both crushing it. But I think it was Aaron that said to build relationships, and I came across a quote that said relationship over revenue. If you build the relationship, the revenue will follow. So really, I didn't really get tied up on not making sales. I legit tried to help people get small wins, and that right there shows them, 1, I know what I'm talking about. 2, they're going to be more inclined to come back when they have another question, and when they're ready to pull the trigger, they're going to look and remember at, hey, Flip helped me out, or whoever, this guy helped me out, so let me go back and check with them. That's where a lot of my sales have came from, because if you put aside the sale, like we talked about this in the call earlier, when you disconnect from the sale, and like legit, I don't need the sale. I will make a sale to someone else. I already know I will. That's how it works. So I'm really disconnected from making a sale with anybody. You got a question, I'm going to answer it directly, very open, honest, and transparent, and legit try to help you. whether that's you making the decision to do business with me, or I point you to someone else that I know can help you better. That's really how I move forward on, relationships.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another interview that we have in SAA with Josh Ong, he makes an analogy of planting the seeds. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize that they're actually doing in that early phase, however many months that may be, or weeks, depending on how quick things blow up. But a lot of those seeds can kind of bear fruit over time when things do start to take off, because people remember that conversation that you had, or they remember that post of yours that they read, or whatever it may be, and they will come back. So all of those conversations right now that maybe feel like they're not going anywhere, that could be a seed planted to be kind of harvested in the future. So don't necessarily write it off, and that just plays exactly to what you were talking about the importance of the relationship. The only caveat I'd put on that is don't let people, and this is where what you made the point about answering the questions very directly. Don't what's the right word? Don't give away your soul to people who aren't spending money as well, right? It's a tricky balance. Help people, but within reason. Like if they're wanting free call after free call after free call, you've got that type of person on your hands, and they're probably not going to buy down the train. But if they're being very respectful, they ask a question here or there. Even now, I do my best to get back to people who, if they ask a really pointed question and I can answer it in a couple of words, I'll answer it. If you message me with, here's my fucking life story and all of my problems, what's your advice? Like it's hard. It's going to take a long time, and you're probably not going to get an answer. So you need to I guess filter who you help to a degree. But if people are being respectful and they're asking, pretty direct questions, I'd say go for it. Just be careful not to enable the really aggressive time wasters. Would be the flip side of that. Jessica says, so Jacob, to your point about not setting ourselves up, the RVL, I don't have all the results now, nor the lifestyle. I'm with Flip. I want to pay debts off. All I can offer in post is value. Don't have the lifestyle or results yet. I just want experience, really, not stuff. You do well here. So you're in a program that's probably got results, right? Like there's other stuff going on absent yours. That's one thing. Results also don't necessarily have to be financial. You've got phases of results. You've got, and this is a concept I've spoken about in SAA before, you've got non-quantifiable, non-monetary results, right? So, I had this realization, this thing happened. It may not be something that's perfectly quantifiable. It's more of a qualitative thing, and it could be a result or an outcome. Then you've got quantifiable, non-monetary, right? I grew my friends list. I grew my group. I generated leads. I did X, Y, Z, right? Like they're quantifiable, but they may not necessarily be monetary results. They're your next bucket that you can look at leveraging. And then what's going to happen is as you compound those non-quantifiable, non-monetary and quantifiable, non-monetary, as you compound those more and more and use them as tools to generate leads and stuff like that, that's where the quantifiable monetary results will stem from. And those will then compound into more and more results. So I don't agree that you don't have results. There's results out there from whatever programs you're part of, whoever you're working under. There's always angles, and results don't have to be straight up, I made X dollars. Okay. So hopefully that helps clarify that point. And lifestyle, again, you do. Lifestyle is assumed to mean I'm at the beach doing nothing, when what it really means is showing people you're a real person and giving them a bit of a window into your world. I'm walking the dog. I'm out at dinner. I'm seeing my family, I'm at the cafe, whatever, right? Like it's lifestyle is not about like being a lifestyle influencer. Lifestyle is just about letting people into your world a little bit, and it's particularly relevant to social media because that's what it was built for, and that's why posts with a baby or a cute dog pop off, is because that's what people are natively on there to see. So again, Jessica, you do. It's just not in the context that you're thinking about lifestyle. It doesn't mean I'm traveling and I'm drinking pina coladas. It just means here's what I'm up to day to day. And it's not a fundamentally critical piece of content, but it's a nice little bridge piece of content or filler piece of content because, and there's a video on YouTube with Dan Kennedy and a dude named Big Luca, and he talks about they're doing a tour of Dan Kennedy's office, and it looks to the naked eye, it looks like an absolute fucking mess. Like it looks like chaos. There's shit everywhere. The walls are covered in like crooked photo frames and all of these knickknacks that he's collected over his 600-year career. And to the naked eye, it looks like a nightmare. But what he says is during a consulting day, so the way his business worked historically is people had to jump through all these hoops for the right to pay him $18,000 to come to his house for a day of consulting, and then at the end of that day, he would tell them if he would take them on as a client or not. And he said, what I would do is at some point throughout the morning, I'd walk out, and inevitably, because there's so much like interesting and weird and wonderful, it's like walking into one of those stores in like a small town, like there's just shit everywhere. And he's like, inevitably, they will find something that has a connection to them. Right? Like, oh, my granddad was a baker and he's got like a photo up of a bakery that he worked with or something. And it's a connection, right? It's a connection. Your lifestyle content, AKA what you're doing day to day, can generate more of those connections because you only need the tiniest bridge, right? Like, for example, I started a conversation with someone not too long ago who was in my Facebook group and had been active, and I reached out and they were Dutch, they were from Holland, and I said, oh, I've got family there, right? Like tiny little connection that started a really interesting conversation, and then we moved on and input something. Like any little connections you can find, and that is a really, really powerful connector to your audience, right? Like I'll have people reach out, like I post a photo at the football in Melbourne when I go down there, and I'll get Aussies that are on my profile reach out going, oh man, I didn't know you're Australian, you're at the football, blah, blah, blah. And then that can lead to business. Like it's about giving people something little to latch on, and lifestyle posts are a good way to do that. Hopefully there's a tangent there, but there's a pretty important lesson in it too. Hopefully that helps, Jessica. Benjamin, what is your best referral for a comfy office chair? These are good. Secret Lab. Is that the same as yours, or is yours different?
It's same style, but it's actually Respawn.
Okay.
That was
beautiful. Yeah, I like these Secret Lab one. I've been pretty happy with. Question 2: did you find booking calls and jumping on calls was good leverage to close sales, or did you do more closing over Messenger?
I've done both.
Another question was, were you jumping on the phone from the get-go or asking for sales via Messenger? I'll let you field it, man, but both work.
Yeah, both work. You'll get some people that I feel like I'll kind of vibe with people. I can really read people a lot better, especially now with a little bit of experience. But I can tell if a call would be better, because if you pay attention to how short their messages are, you can kind of tell and base their interest. And also look at the questions that they're asking. If it seems like they have a lot of questions, then I'll jump on a call with them. And jumping on a call is more intimate, so a lot of people aren't comfortable with it. So really it comes down, for me, qualifying them in Messenger. if you want to close the sale in Messenger, you'll get people that, are basically easy to close, but then you'll have people that you might have to talk to for 2 or 3 weeks. I've had both. I like closing in Messenger. I also like getting on the phone because I can get face to face with someone. It's a lot harder for someone to, I'd say, lie or bullshit you when you're looking at them, and you can read their body language too. So it's just more intimate to get on a call. I actually enjoy connecting with people on a call. It's just it's actually a little easier and more comfortable for me, to be honest. So it's a preference. I've closed in Messenger, I've closed on the phone.
Yeah. You can also use it strategically. Like if you've got your calendar link there and it's all set up with, your appropriate hours that fit around your schedule, and a conversation's getting a bit long in the tooth, I'll do this from time to time. If a conversation's getting a touch too long, which the more I get into this, the shorter that fuse gets, but you can say, look, let's just book in a 20-minute time and we'll nut this out. We'll get it sorted. And you bring it to a head. If they don't book a call, then they're clearly wasting your time anyway. So you can use it strategically, like as a backstop. Look, I'm really busy. I'm on the way out the door. Here's my link. Book a time. And then, as Flip said, you can look people in the eye and you can get an answer, right? So with all that out of the way, hopefully you found that helpful. Are you ready to jump into XYZ program that we spoke about? Yeah, that sounds good. Boom. No, let's do it. But they can't walk away from the question if you're on the phone with them.
Right.
So.
And we all want to know. We want to know whether it's a yes or no.
Yeah. Yeah. If they say no, say okay, no worries.
It's cool.
That's fine. This one's a specific question. How many people were you adding around March/April, and how many are you currently adding or accepting inbound friend requests on a day? I think the question is essentially, how at what level are you growing your, I guess, friend/group base?
This is going to
this may have shifted a little bit with your TikTok stuff going on, but
yeah, this will probably blow a lot of people's mind. I'd say right before April, I'd done a very large cull on my friends list. I think I had like 3,000 friends on my list, and I dropped it down to 1,000. Like that's how many people I got rid of. Like it was a lot. It absolutely crushed my engagement. It kind of hurt me a little bit, to be honest. I think I'm up to 1,200 people now, so I haven't really added a lot of people. I still have over 300 friend requests sitting, waiting for me to go through and vet them. And I'll be quick to hit the delete button if I see something that just doesn't look. What's the word I'm looking for? If you look like a forex trader and you're standing by a sports car, I'm gonna delete you. I'm not even gonna look at your profile. I'm real strong when it comes to, we might have 120 mutual friends. It's a good chance I might not accept you. I vet everybody. I look at everybody's profile, but I haven't done hardly any outbound, to be completely honest. I think I might have added 5 people today. I was just sitting outside in the hammock and went through a couple of them, but I really don't spend a lot of time doing outbound now. And that just comes back to your content and, partly from TikTok. But if you look at the last couple of weeks of my content, I'm very direct and I'm very blunt. Like, you're going to reach out to me or you're going to comment for me to send you information. That kind of removes me from doing, the cold outreach. I know what I have to offer. And if you want it, you can let me know. I'm not going to chase anyone. So hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah. And I think I agree with that. I think starting, if you want to force the issue more, you can have a wider scope to do that. And then as the results compound, your need to do it will come down.
Yes.
And then you can draw a line in the sand if you feel so inclined and stop doing it.
Yeah. When I started, I banged out mad messenger conversations and I banged out mad friend requests, especially the first couple months, like to where my fingers hurt. But then I got a tool that Jacob recommended, and I like it pretty good too. Chat Silo. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I have an affiliate. I think anybody wants it. Just saying.
Do you feel you have had to go through all the failures that gave you fuel to see success?
Yeah. I've failed probably more than most people, not just, in online business, but like life in general. I've been through some shit. I won't go into detail on that because we're almost at the hour mark, but all of my struggles led to a win. Like, here's how I look at failure. When you fail, you're failing, but you're not really failing. You're just learning what doesn't work. If you fail enough times, you're going to know exactly what the fuck not to do. And you're going to eventually run into stuff that starts working. And then you can build off of that. But to me, failure is needed to succeed.
Yep. Jamie says, I might have missed it already, but can you walk us through any fundamental shifts you made from a mindset perspective to start breaking out? I think from what you've said before, probably that real detaching and just it'll be kind of approach,
Yeah.
That relationship build. What are the most common objections you get, and how do you overcome them?
Let's see, the most common one. Here's a prime example. He might be on this. He might be on the live, so I'm not gonna drop his name, but he'll know if he is. I actually talked to someone about one of the products that I promote, and his exact words were, I'm gonna have to wait, just not right now. And I simply didn't push the fact. I know this guy, I trust him. But he turned around the very next day and bought from someone else. Now, there's two lessons to that. You can push the sale, drop your link, or you can back off. I'm really not that pushy. I don't try to push anybody into a corner or nothing. If you want to work with me, cool. If not, no hard feelings. But a common objection would be, not today, I'm not ready, I don't have that kind of money. And it really depends on the person and their situation. What kind of rapport or relationship we have will determine how I handle it. So that's kind of a hard question to say, how I handle it. But something really important is to look at their situation as a whole. And if you ask the right qualifying questions, I know we're running short on time, but to give a prime example, if someone says they want to make more sales, they know that they can't do it by themselves, they need help, that's them right there telling you they have a problem, they know they can't do it by themselves. And then you turn around and pitch exactly what will help them, and they turn around and say, well, I just can't afford it. So then I'll turn around and say, well, based off everything you just told me, you can't afford not to, because you're not getting the results that you want. So, Jacob covered this earlier, but every month, every day, every week, however you want to look at it, you are missing money by staying in the same position. And you're doing that to yourself. So if you don't want to make the move and get yourself out of that situation so you can get the results you want, cool. I'm not going to push you to do it.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one for sure. I think the best way to generally the best way to overcome objections as a beginner is look for an opportunity to circle back and highlight the stupidity of the objection based on stuff they've said themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way to think about it, because if you've had a decent chat, be it on the phone or on Messenger, they're going to have told you what you need in order to overcome it. You've just got to it's even more powerful rather than you throwing it back in their face and be like, fuck you, you said this. You let them say it, and then they're going to look like they're going to go, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yep.
But that's not to say it's always going to work. But yeah, that's typically the best way to think about it. Okay, that's the objection. What have they said that makes that sound completely stupid? How do I circle back to get them to, realize that and say it again, and then that will amplify the all right. Diane, do you use Calendly? I've just shifted over to Calendly. I was using Schedule once, but I found it too fucking messy and complicated. So yeah, I've just moved to Calendly. Do you use Calendly, Flip?
I sure do. Very simple, easy. You don't need nothing fancy.
Yeah. Jessica, so Flip, you don't say hi after the friend request is accepted.
I do.
So if you send out a friend request, they accept it, you send a message.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. I'll switch it up. I'll look for something on their profile that we might have in common. I'll kind of keep it real because, all organic marketers are doing the generic, hey, thanks for connecting. So I really just try and be different. I'll even ask them a question like, hey, did you see one of my posts that stood out more than anything else? Just curious. I'm Flip from Virginia. Try to build a real conversation, like not trying to pitch or nothing. I really want to get to know people.
Jessica's, what is that system, Flip, for Messenger? It's called Chat Silo, Jessica.
Yeah.
And I think that's all of them. Well, I think it was a good chat, man. I think that covered things nicely. I'm pumped for you. I know this is early days, and you've got a lot of cool stuff ahead of you. So it's going to be exciting to watch. For those of you watching that aren't already in SAA and you're interested, you can feel free to swing me a message. Flip mentioned earlier a program called the Rolodex. That's another one that we've got, and we're taking on a couple of people who want to promote that as a complementary thing to what they might already be doing if they're in that kind of organic world. You can feel free to drop me a message about that too if you'd like to have a chat. Both of those things require an investment. Neither of them are free, so just keep that in mind. If you've got no budget or you're not prepared to spend any money, then probably no point having a conversation. But if you are in a position to invest, then happy to have the chat quickly about it and see which one might be right. Go and check out Flip stuff that he's got going on. I'm sure you'll learn a lot. Diane, the tools Chat Silo. Other than that, any final words?
That's it. One, thanks for having me, man, and I really enjoyed the questions. If anybody needs to hit me up, got any further questions, feel free to do so.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thanks to everyone that jumped on and participated, and we will talk to you all soon. Cheers.
Appreciate it, guys.